Hi ladies, welcome to the fifth and final episode of Branding Your Client Experience. I'm Amanda, the branding babe, and I'm a little sad this is the last lesson in this course, but I'm happy to be here today to talk to you about branding your booking experience. So before I get into kind of like the branding and designing of packages and services, I want to talk about the most important thing, which is obviously making a living and surviving off of your entrepreneurial skills. So if you haven't and you're new to this business, whatever it is you're doing, the first things we want to do is we want to know our cost of doing business and how much we need to make in order to thrive and survive and be happy. So if you're new to your entrepreneurial venture and you'd like to go full-time someday, I'd like you to just sit down and do an exercise and really figure out your cost of doing business and how many services you need to sell or how many hours you need to work to make the living that you would like to make. So the first thing we need to calculate, I like to do this kind of in two different tiers, do the exercise twice. So how much do we want to make? So this is kind of going all out, like what is your dream number? How much do you want to make? I want you to write that down. And then I also want you to write down how much you need to make. So how much do you need to make to survive and to be happy and to take care of your family, or if it's just you or your pets, and have those as two separate numbers. And I want you to do the exercise for both of those. So what we need to figure out after writing those numbers down is how many hours we realistically want to be working per week. How often do we want to be working? So write down that number as well. And then we need to figure out our expenses. So how much per year are we spending on resources for our business? So this could be gear, it could be products you use for clients, it can be software, accounting. All of these factors need to go on so we can know how much that we're actually spending on our business. And we actually want to add this to our dream number amount, or the amount we want to make, so we know how much we need to cover as well for expenses to be hitting that number. And then what we need to figure out is how many sessions we need to sell, maybe how many classes we need to teach, how many services we need to book per week or per month in order to make that amount by the end of the year. So that should really be giving you the cost of how much your services are in order to make your dream number, or the number you just need to survive. And we should all know that going into any business venture, how much we need to make. And it might not happen the first year or even the second year. A lot of creative fields are very difficult, and it takes a lot of time to build a client base and to get to know your way around things. But have these numbers as goals and benchmarks and strive towards them and understand them and come back to them each year, so you know your cost of doing business, and you know that you're at least charging at minimum what you need to survive. So after we've done the basics and we've done that, and maybe you've been in business for a while, I want to talk about burnout and how sometimes we feel like we're not charging what we're worth. And a good way to know that is if you're even debating, am I charging what I'm worth? If you're asking yourself that on a regular basis, then it's very possible you might not be charging as much as you should be. Another way to know is if your peers are telling you need to charge more, and especially if your clients are telling you can charge more for your work, you should really be listening to that. If you're feeling burnt out, if you're feeling exhausted, if you feel like you're slaving away, but you're still not profiting what you need to profit to be happy and successful under your own terms, then that is a sign that you possibly need to revisit your pricing and up things a little bit. So I hope that this lesson is a little bit of an encouragement for you to reevaluate your packages and your services, and think about how you want to create these for your ideal clients. So we're going to go into branding your booking experience, and I'm actually going to show you how to create project proposals in HoneyBook doing this. All right, so now that we're screen sharing, I want to show you guys a few different websites and talk with you about how your booking experience can be branded differently based on what kind of business you have and what kind of services you're trying to sell. So I wanted to start off with the School of Style Fashion Stylist Certification page. This is actually a landing page attached to their website. You'll probably notice that lots of education programs or courses do landing pages to book their clients and their customers and to sell their experience. So I really like the School of Styles page. I actually know the designer, the graphic designer who's worked on it, and I've seen her process into approaching it. And what she does similarly to lots of other landing pages for courses is educate the customer about the experience before even sharing the price. So there's lots of information around here about what it's like to start your stylist career. There's quotes from people who have taken the course. There's lots of kind of free tips and information throughout. We see testimonials from different people, and it just goes on, and there's a video here. They give us some secrets about the industry. And then all the way at the bottom here is where they share with us their modules and eventually their pricing. So we can see they went over modules in a few different spots. And then eventually we get to the pricing options. And this is how a lot of people price their online courses, is they have a single payment option up front, which usually saves you money, and then a pay monthly option as well. And what this does is this presents the customer with a value proposition. Something that works really well, and we'll see this in other approaches that I do moving forward, is this value. So we save $367 by paying up front. Lots of people are motivated by savings or discounts. So somebody who's really motivated in that case might go ahead and pay up front, but the person who maybe doesn't have all that money to start with does have an option to pay monthly in smaller segments. So having both of those options is great. And this can apply to you if you are a teacher and actually physically meeting with people in person, and you're having maybe like a 6-month course, whether it's like you're teaching people for a 200-hour yoga certification. You could do it in the same exact way where you have a monthly option, or a payment plan broken into 4 or 5 different payments, and then also a single payment that saves people some money. And in order to brand it, you can create a landing page very similar to this. Landing pages can be created through your own website. They can also be created through different softwares and servers. Something like, what's one I've used before? MailerLite. MailerLite does newsletters, but they also do landing pages, and you can create that through their software. So there's lots of different ways to create them, but the whole point is to educate people about your service or your course, or your educational experience, and then obviously to sell at the very end. And you have this little value proposition here. So that's one way you can brand your services. Another approach I want to look at is Jenna Kutcher. And I've talked about Jenna a lot, but I wanted to go back to her investment page and her photography page, because again, it educates you about her process. But Jenna just has one price on her website. She has her wedding coverage starting from $6,000. And a lot of wedding photographers and photographers in general will do this, where they have a starting price or an average spending price per client that they put on their website, because their booking experience, although does rely a lot on the website and their portfolio and sharing work, it also relies a lot about actually hopping on the phone with the client or conversing with them via email, and sharing their prices more in depth there as they get to know the individual. So that's really where this comes into place. Jenna only takes on a certain amount of weddings per year. She wants to make sure she's a really good fit for the couple. So it's a way for her to weed out people that she thinks might not be a good client for her, but also a really great way to get to know somebody before trying to sell to them right away. So if we go and we look back through the branding your client experience courses, the the couple other lessons I've done before this, we look at more of Jenna's website. And I also talk about how not just selling to clients right away, but trying to get to know them and develop a relationship with them before pitching your prices, and hopping on that discovery call is a really good option. So if you're a photographer and you have all your prices on your website, you might want to think about taking this approach, just to see if actually getting those clients on the phone does the trick for you. However, there are other websites and businesses, especially photography businesses, that will put all their services and prices online. So I work for Leila Chanel Studios, which is owned by Michelle Harris, M. Harris Studios. She's in the group. If you're not familiar with her work, go check her out. She runs an awesome education group as well. But for her website, she actually has all of her prices online, and then an inquire option. So we have all the 3 different packages: orchids, roses, which is the mid-range one, and peonies, which is the most expensive. And again, we come at it from an approach of value. So we see that this is actually a $4,600 value if we approach it with a la carte items. So if we added up the 10 hours of coverage, the engagement session, and the 12x12 satin album, it would actually come to a total of $4,600. But because you're getting it as a package, it actually only comes to $3,900. So we see the value of this, and we see that we're getting a deal. And then obviously, we also have the other 2 packages, and this is a system that a lot of photographers also use, having 3 packages laid out for people to easily choose between, and usually is the goal for most people to book the middle package. The middle package is supposed to appeal to the most people in your client base. So 8 hours of coverage is pretty standard for weddings, and 2 photographers. So that's a pretty great gig. You're getting 2 people of coverage, you're getting the standard 8 hours, and you're saving some money on the deal. So really, the package that's more expensive than that, we want to think about it as the package going all out, right? So we're getting extra coverage, we're getting an engagement session on top, and we're getting an album. So we feel extra spoiled, and we feel like we're getting everything that we need as far as coverage goes for our wedding day. And then for the cheaper package, we really have it as kind of the simplest option. So somebody who needs minimal hours of coverage and maybe only 1 photographer. So this is really for the budget-friendly person. And probably this person even realistically would want the middle package. So this is the one we're trying to sell to the most people. For the person who wants to go all out, we're giving them our biggest package. And then maybe for the bargain hunter, the person that really has a tight budget, we have the cheapest option. And then of course there are a la carte items to add on. And then we have the option to inquire. And because this is Michelle's second business, this isn't her primary wedding business, I think that's why she has all of her prices available on here. I don't believe she has them all on her actual M. Harris Studios website. I'll have to check with her on that one. But this is just a different approach to selling your services, having them all laid out beforehand. If it's really important to you that you get to know the client and you share your prices on the phone, try taking Jenna's approach and just have a starting or average spending price, and then work on booking them through email, your pricing and your client experience guides, and getting them on the phone. So those are just a few different ways we can brand our client experience by using web pages, and we share our prices in different ways in order to attract different types of clients. We want to make sure that we're approaching things from a position of value, and our packages show that people can actually save by paying all up front or by booking a package deal. So hopefully that was a little helpful tutorial for you guys, and I actually want to show you how I've built my packages in HoneyBook so you can do something similar for yourself. So let's go ahead and go into HoneyBook. I've gone into my template section, which you can find by going to Tools up here and then clicking on Templates. There's kind of 2 different areas you can play with, actually more than that, in HoneyBook when it comes to branding your booking experience. The main one that I use is client proposals. since most of my work is service-based, and I only really deliver digital files. I don't sell anything after post, really, as far as albums or prints or anything that goes, since all of my work is branding photography related. I do have a few product packages in here, but it's not my focus. So most of my services are all branded through the proposal section in here, and I'm going to go ahead and click on it, and I'm going to show you a few of my things. So it's pulled up the family photo shoot proposal that I have, and I don't really use this. This is when I used to be taking on more diverse types of clients, but let me actually pull up one of my branding shoot proposals so I can show that to you. So if you haven't heard the term proposal is kind of unique to HoneyBook. Proposals basically combine your client invoice and payment plan as well as your contract. So it shares the list of services with your client that you're wanting them to book, as well as what's included in that. It gives them the payment plan and the invoice, and then it gives them your contract to sign at the end. So the proposal is just the lumping of all of those things together. All right, so I have my monthly mini branding subscription, ultimate one. Let's see, let me show the monthly mini. Let's take a peek at this one. And so this is how I design and sell all of my services. So after I've talked to my clients on the phone, we've discussed what they actually want to book. I've emailed with them back and forth a few times. Then I go and I customize this proposal in HoneyBook, and I send it to them for their review. And then after they've looked over everything, we've decided on a payment plan, and they've signed the contract, then we begin the rest of the process, and I start prepping them for their session, and then obviously moving forward and having the session and sending feedback. So this is just taking a second to load, but I'll show you what I already have pulled up. An image will pop up here in just a second, and you'll see that I have images next to each service as well. But I have the total price for all 6 of the sessions. So my monthly mini subscription is a minimum 6-month subscription. It can be more if somebody wants to work with me more. But I started off at a minimum of 6 months, so it's one 30-minute photography session each month at a rate of $250. So for 6 months, it's $1,500 total. It comes with a monthly questionnaire and strategy session. So if you see here, I've created little graphics for each of the different items that are included in this service. And you guys can do this as well. I've just created these through Canva, these little graphics to illustrate what the client is actually getting. And then the way I actually put it in here is I just click the edit box and I upload it to my library and then pop it in here. It's quite easy. But it shows exactly what the client is getting. I have a cute little picture here with some of my different branding shoots. I describe everything in detail so the client knows exactly what they're getting for each shoot. It shows the grand total of the price. And then I have my payment schedule here. So I will have talked to my client about the actual schedule for all of this. So the first payment will lock in their first session. And then after their first session, we discuss when we want to be doing the next monthly payments. So it could be the second week of each month. It can be the week after each session they have. But I always leave it as to be determined before I talk to my clients about that, and then I input the actual dates the follow-up payments will be due later. So this plan is paid monthly. I can send an invoice monthly, or I can make it recurring, and my client can add in their credit card information for it to be automated payments, so they don't have to worry about checking an invoice each month. It'll just go through. And then it has my contract here. So my contract includes my description of services, it includes the date, location, all of that good stuff, how much is due per month by each client. And then I have all these different sections in my contract about refunds, cancellations, costs, copyright, all that good stuff, which I'm sure you guys are familiar with. And so this is what gets sent to each of my clients after they are ready to book. And they get the chance to look over this, and then once they've paid, we're ready to go. So this is what my proposal looks like in HoneyBook. If you're using HoneyBook, start thinking about how you can do the same for your clients. What are your services going to look like? How do you want to break them down so clients can see each step included or what exactly they're getting? How do you want to illustrate it? What types of images can apply to your different services, different cover images, and how you want to break down your payments for each of your clients. And then go ahead and turn that into a template and see how it works out for you. Hopefully HoneyBook has done a lot for you guys. It's done a lot for me. And I hope that this course has given you more tools than you had to begin with in using the software. And I've just been excited to share all I've learned about the system with you. So I'm hoping to do another course soon. I might be doing interviews in the Branding Babe community with other entrepreneurs who have different skill sets. That's something I'm really looking forward to. So if you are someone who wants to be interviewed, or you know really amazing boss babe who would be great for an interview, just go ahead and drop her name in the comments because that's what's coming next. All right. Have a good one, guys. Bye.